restored?
While we're waiting for the technology part of it, Erika is my daughter. She's the youngest of my 4 daughters, and if you don't know me, I'm the high school office secretary. So I'm very, very happy that she could be with us today, because we could be looking at a very different story with our daughter Erika. So Erika, I love you.
Okay, today I'm going to be talking about my experience with drinking and driving. First, I want to thank a few people, Mrs. Thompson, Mrs. Obarto, Mr. Baker. Thank you for inviting me to speak at Blairsville High School today. And there's also one important person that I'd like to thank today, and that's Mr. Rady. He was actually the first person who came on my scene, and him and his wife and children were going to a vacation, and there wasn't any service where I wrecked, and his wife drove away to get service to call 911. So if it wasn't for him, then I don't know how long I would have been stuck under my car, and just thank you. I want to talk to you about choices and a few of the choices that I made. Before I was 21, I did drink a lot. Mom didn't really know that all the time, but there's more pictures. I was probably 15 on the right side. And then I continued after I turned 21, and my family kept on telling me that I shouldn't do it, and I would always believe them off and just say, oh, nothing's going to happen, nothing bad can come out of it. But there's more pictures from my birthday. And on the right side, I was at a party. Well, I went to the bar and then I went to a party, and I was completely passed out, and I dumped the ashtray that was on the coffee table, and it's really embarrassing to look at that picture now. And here, this was the 4th of July. I think it was 2 years ago. It was before I turned 21, and I was drinking before we went to the fireworks, and I could have easily gotten in trouble then. And my drinking also caused me to lose. It's too embarrassing.
It's okay.
I was in a relationship for 2.5 years, and I broke that off because I wanted to have fun. But that was a very big mistake on my part. Here is the weekend before my accident. I told myself that I wouldn't drink and drive because I did have a few friends at the time that had gotten into DUIs, but I just really didn't think it would happen to me. And then I was at a party here, and I didn't drive that night, but I had someone who did drive my car, but he was also drinking too. It was July 25th of this year. The day started off like any other day. It was normal. My ex-boyfriend and I, along with 14 of my family members, went to Idlewild Park for the day. And Mitch and I had ended up leaving early, and we had a meal together, and then he left. And I learned that there was a party in Strongstown, and so my cousin, one of my other friends, and I had gone to that party, and I ended up driving that night because neither of them had cars. And I have a few pictures of that night we were at a kegger, so just paid $5 and then you could just drink however much you wanted. And there's more pictures. My cousin had called another boy to come to the party, and he and my friend Andrew, who I had graduated with, were dropped off. And as soon as they got there, they asked me if I would take them home in the morning. And I told them that I would, because I was planning on staying. And then about half an hour after they got there, we were all inside, and a couple people were playing pool. And the kid that my cousin invited, he was in the bathroom, and the one kid came out, and it was like, you gotta go because I just saw your friend shooting up in the bathroom. And I wasn't really close to the kid. I just knew him from high school, and he was just kind of shady, but he was friends with my friend Andrew, so I figured I would take him home. And they started to, well, they told us that we had to leave, and they started to walk home, but I didn't want them to walk all the way home because it was a far distance. And the kid told me that I had to leave, and my cousin and my friend, because I had to take them home since I said that I would that night. So I was the drunk driver with 2 girls and 2 of my guy friends in my car, and we never made it home. And for the ride home, none of us wore our seatbelts. My sunroof was open, the music was really loud, I was smoking a cigarette, and I was also talking on the phone. I remember driving too fast, realizing that I wouldn't make the sharp turn. I don't even remember if I even tried to put the brakes on. And because the car, I just came up to that turn so fast, and I wasn't really familiar with the road because I hadn't driven it since high school. And I don't remember my car flipping over, and I don't remember my head going through the sunroof. I don't remember my ear being ground off or my cheek tissue being sanded off as the car slid down the road. I don't remember my left arm also going out of the sunroof, or my arm getting road rash, or my elbow bone being shaved down. I don't remember near my eye area being sliced open or the cut on my nose. I don't remember the tendons in my right hand being nearly severed. The next thing I remember is the music had been blaring, and I just cried out, turn it off, because I couldn't hear anything, I couldn't see anything. And then I just remember screaming, get it off of me. Because the car was on my head, and I couldn't get from underneath it. And I remember just screaming, thinking, I'm going to die. I remember telling my friend Andrew that, and he held my hand. Well, I remember when, as soon as the car came to a stop, I just remember everyone, I just remember smelling like smoke, and then everyone getting out from the car. So I had the weight of the car on my head, and then I had everyone else who was in the vehicle, all that extra weight too. And Andrew held my hand the whole time, and I didn't realize that my hand was messed up. And he started asking me a whole bunch of questions like, what year did we graduate, who was the president, what my name was, birthday, and just anything just to keep me talking so I wouldn't lose consciousness. And I remember him praying, and I don't remember really much anything else that happened that hour that I was stuck under my car. And there's more pictures. Almost every single window, besides a little bit of my windshield, is all shattered. And then under the sunroof, that was all the blood from whenever they got me out. And they actually told my parents that if someone would have got the car off of my head, that I would have bled to death because the car and the road was keeping the blood suctioned in. And some of the few pictures will be graphic. This is a few hours later. Well, after the car was lifted off my head, I remember touching the side of my face and saying my face is effed up, but it didn't say F. The next thing I remember is whenever I was in the helicopter, I remember holding my elbow and just looking down and seeing a whole bunch of blood and just shaking my head, thinking, what did I do? The next thing after that, I remember I was in the emergency room and they started to cut all my clothes off, and I just got so mad. And they had to strap me down because I was flinging around so much, and they were just poking me with needles. And I remember the one lady, the one nurse, telling me that I didn't need to swear so much because I was just freaking out because I didn't think that I needed to be in the hospital. I didn't see anything that was wrong with me. The next thing I remember is my family standing all around me, and I couldn't talk to them because I had a ventilator tube down my throat. And my family told me that I was making signs with my hands telling them that I wouldn't drink and drive anymore. And it took a while before they really understood what I was trying to say. And I must have looked pretty scared because my mom told me, "You're not going to die, I promise you." And they had to leave me because I had to make my way up with an orthopedic surgeon for my first surgery. And he cleaned and closed all the wounds that were on my elbow and on my hand. And after that, I was moved to a room in the trauma unit where I was put into a drug-induced coma. And while in the ICU, they told me that they wanted to cut my hair off because it was so full of blood and glass, and my hair was just one big knot. And I told them that I wouldn't let them cut my hair. So the nurse got out what glass that she could. You can see my hair is a disaster. The good news and the bad news. Well, the good news is no one else was hurt badly in the accident. My cousin got 3 stitches in her knee, and then I think that was basically really it. Oh, and my friend Heather broke her pinky. And the one boy who shot up at the party, he actually fled the scene while I was stuck under my car. And he tried saying that he was just walking on a back road at 5 o'clock in the morning without any shoes on because he hid the beer in the weeds, and his shoes were actually by the beer too. And I didn't know that I lost my ear until the second day that I was in the trauma unit. And as soon as I heard that, I just wanted to die. Like, I didn't think that I would be able to live that way. I started getting regular visits from psychiatric staff to help me deal with everything that was going on. And every day I now choose to think about what I will look like and not really dwell on how I look like right now. This was me the next day after my accident. As you can see, I'm really swelled up. I have burnt all over my face, the hair on my eyebrow, everything is just really, really bad. I spent 2 days in the surgical trauma ICU and then 8 more days in the regular trauma unit in Allegheny General Hospital. I had 2 teams of doctors and nurses visiting me every day. They would change my dressings twice a day and then clean all my wounds. And I learned that I was not a candidate for ear reconstruction